2nd Ezra 15-46, and now Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person, woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that thou might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rahak Kodash, the ones, the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, salutations, and blessings to the elect, pushing the word across the four corners of the earth. And yeah, China, man. You know, Esau talks about how much they hate communism, you know, until they need a pair of Nikes or Jordans or whatever the fuck. You know, China basically has become a gatekeeper for all these different westernized products. And this is China mocking the music. This is China mocking America after the tariffs and stuff. So this is all the products they've. It's a bunch of, you know. Look, man. Basically pride, man. Them telling America, like, look, you can't make the kind of shit that we make. You can't do what we do. All right, and with a lot of these fat ass Americans, you can't. But Jake will figure it out. All right, which that's who was in a lot of those manufacturing jobs. Your people of a certain age, once they kind of open the doors for Jake, that's basically what you could do. You could do the railroads, you could do Ford. Over here in the Midwest, you know, the coast is different opportunities. But here in the Midwest, basically that's where everybody was at. The plant, you know, some kind of manufacturing place, and then once all that stuff dried up, and that's why this is known as the Rust Belt. All right. This is where most of the manufacturing plants were, because you could get somebody off the street, train them up, and then they could just be a part of the supply chain. Which the supply chain was invented by it was a so-called black man who used to work with Henry Ford. Damn, what's this man's name? Now I gotta look it up. William Perry. All right, which these Edomites had a lot of Jake friends back then. They hide, you know, now that history's been established. You know, George Washington Carver. That was basically who helped, you know, with the industrial age. It was Jake. All right, but moving forward to the time where that shit has been shipped over, Moab believes that they're going to be the next rulers. Right? And guess what? You're not written in the scriptures, so we understand that that's not so. I wanted to show a few examples, though, because China has like a blackout on a lot of the stuff that goes on over there. But this chick actually went, and she actually has a first-hand account. She has some type of camera showing you how automated this place is. It's a warning, beware. It's an Elamite chick, so she got that accent. So
have you ever thought about what makes a country grow? Okay, so there's this economist, Robert Solow, who kind of got it right. He says it's three things: capital, labor, and technology. See, countries start by building stuff. That's factories, machines, infrastructure. But there's the catch. There's a limit to how much you can grow just by building things. The real game changer is actually technology. So let's begin our journey through China. The first surprise actually hit our team as soon as they landed. That too in an industrial hub. Not bad at all, right? But that was just the beginning. Our first real interesting experience. Most of it is all...
Get to the good part, man. Cause you doing some too much damn talking.
Was the same to the rooms. The receptionist was a regular hotel, nothing real-time travel. Interesting experience of the Chinese tech and automation that we've been hearing about came from the taxi driver. You know how we're also used to Google Maps, right? He wasn't using Google Maps, he was using something called A Maps. And I want you guys to see of the Chinese tech and automation that we've been hearing about came from the taxi driver.
Now you see that? How many? Because they got that in Chicago now. See how many cameras is on that damn thing? It's like 10 cameras on that fucking one light pole. Which recently Chicago did that. They had big cameras and then it had a flash on it. So if you had, you caught a ticket, you see the light flash, you know. But now with the new shit, it just gets you. Boom. And that's how Esau wants it, man. He wants to be able to see everything, go exactly as fast as I say you can go, and then go exactly in the region that I say you can go, and then you can stay in this area, and you have this many credits approved for 500 milligrams of protein, and that's what this man wants, man. Like, this man is the devil. Anyway, continue.
Wasn't just showing directions, it was actually showing real-time traffic signals and speed cameras. Every traffic light, every speed trap, literally everything was on this. So when the taxi driver was asked about it, he shared that it was made by Alibaba and everyone there is using it, and apparently it's extremely accurate. And finally, they arrived at their hotel, just a regular hotel, nothing fancy. And what do they find? Robots. No display pieces, but actual working robots moving around, getting into elevators by themselves, delivering stuff to rooms. Now, obviously, this will get anybody intrigued. So they asked the receptionist about it, and she shared that this is literally found in almost all hotels of China. And it actually does a bunch of things. So the kitchen staff loads it with food, and it automatically delivers the same to the room.
So now you don't need to pay a guy to take stuff up to the room. You don't need to pay a guy to take up the luggage, because the damn camera robot thing will do it for you. If I'm assuming they have something like that. Now you don't have to pay somebody even be. Well, I'm sure you probably need one clerk or two, but you don't need to have a bunch of clerks, because everything is done through cameras and sensors, and you arrived at this particular time, please scan in. See, this is what Esau wants. And this is why the scriptures say, woe be unto Babylon and Asia.
The receptionist was like, we've had these for years, and it's honestly very, very common. Want to hear something crazier? Alibaba's been running a completely automated hotel in China since 2018. No human staff at all.
No.
How wild is that? Now here's when things started getting really interesting, and we also started learning more about the culture in China. So when the team tried to pay for something with cash, people literally looked at them like they were from another century. Just like we have UPI in India, in China as well, every single thing happens through your phone. But here's the interesting part. Most of it is all through one single app.
So you heard that? All payments are through one app. Like, you got 20 apps to do 20 things, and then this and that. Now imagine if Esau could merge all of the payments and the Google Pay and the Apple Pay and the this Pay and the that Pay. And you got all these different payment forms. Imagine if you could all merge all of that into one app, and then this is the universal way to pay. This is the universal way to do this. This is the universal coin, because everybody got a coin right now too. Invest in the shit. You got Diddy coin. And that's the plans that Esau wants. This is what they want. The people of China are clearly slow and very weak to even allow the government to do some shit like this, man. Man, you gotta be just weak as fuck, man. To let your government just put this on the people.
Check this out. This is WeChat. Imagine if WhatsApp, Netflix, Uber, Paytm, and Spotify had a baby. That is WeChat for you.
Damn.
You want to text someone? WeChat. You need to book a cab? WeChat. Watch videos? WeChat. Make payments? WeChat. It has 1.3 billion monthly active.
Yeah. So there you go. There you go. All right, I'm going to read it again. 2nd Ezra 15:4-6. And thou, Asia, that are partaker, this is what it means. They're a partaker. All right, they have the same whoredoms, the same liberalness, over there is communism. All right, which Esau is supposedly a hater of, even though you guys practice socialism, you know, where with healthcare and stuff, you know, which you have a certain because communism basically is where the government rules everything. And in the scriptures, according to, you know, our kingdom, there is a certain aspect of the government running things, and you having to pay this and pay that, and you know, a certain order being set up, right? 12 men on 12 different thrones, and then they rule over all the rest of the elect. But then there's a certain aspect of capitalism where you have your own personal private property, and you can do what you will and loan this and loan that, you know, and then it's the spirit is, you know, for you not to be what's the word, you know, predatory, because you're not going to charge your brother usury. Then it tells you if you which in the kingdom, you know, I don't see why you would have to loan anybody anything, because everybody's going to be rich anyway. But I'm just saying, you know, it scriptures say, of course, you're supposed to pay somebody back, but then it say if you lend, don't even expect anything back. You know, so it's a balance there. But then it talks about in Acts, I believe 2:44, it said all things were common. So there were certain things that were shared. You know, hey, this is all I got, and I'm gonna just put this in the pot, and then, you know, we all gonna share it. You know, so they're different components when done right. Then it actually works. Which in the kingdom, like I said, there's going to be complete abundance. So there's going to be no need to, you know, for your neighbor to be in your corner of your field because they struggling with poverty, or, you know, like it says, if your neighbor falls, you know, help him to restore himself, you know, help him up, lend to him. Certain things you're not going to need to do. All right, but, you know, the spirit of the law has the right combination of things in there, and it's all going to be internalized in us. But as you can see, the scriptures say the wicked reason, but not a right. When these people get into power, they completely just tyrants, complete tyrants. I'm gonna read down. Matter of fact, I got another precept. All right, yeah, Wisdom of Solomon 8. And 13, moreover, by the means of her, and this is why the Israelites have to come back into power, man. All the creation groaneth. It says, moreover, by the means of her, I shall obtain immortality and leave behind me an everlasting memorial to them that come after me. And the elect is literally going to live forever. Literally going to be forever. Like you won't have to have an inheritance any longer, because you're not going to be going anywhere. You might have something for your children or something, but it's going to be different. And yep, I shall set the people in order, and the nations shall be subject to me. So all of this bullshit that these people do, and the speed limit is this here. I mean, of course you need a certain speed limit, but like the way Esau does this kingdom, man, you clocked in 7 minutes late, and that's going to be 20 points on your personal point score. And if you reach 100, then we're gonna write you up, and then if you reach 120, it's a notice of dismissal, and you might get suspended. All this bullshit. And the whole, your damn card and got a flat and shit, which his technology is weak as fuck, right? And he sat there and did some road work, and then some of his shit fell in the road. You ran it up, just the course of confusion in this kingdom, man. It's the place is pure confusion, man. That's why we continue to pray. And you have to continue to have patience, man, because this man, his place is made for destruction ultimately. All right. Verse 15, horrible tyrants. When you look at these nations, man, some of these people are horrible tyrants. And when they rule, you can see the kings of these nations, they do whatever the fuck. Whoever they say die, they just gonna die. Whoever, you notice amongst Jake, Jake will at least say something like, hold on, man, in many cases. But in many cases not. Because it seems to say, amongst my people, I found wicked men. So, and a lot of our people get paid off and they just look right the other way. And that's still going on to this day. I'm going to read verse 15. Horrible tyrants should be afraid when they do, but hear of me. I shall be found good amongst the multitude and valiant in war. All right, and after these other nations hear about us and they understand what it is, like the scriptures say, they come not to pay tribute, they come not before us when they summoned or whatever, then no rain. And other plagues too. It says that other plagues as well. And somebody's gonna try it. And I wish they would try it with me with that spiritual power. I hope so. Because it's got to be interesting. It's got to be some. There has to be moments where you strike fear into these other nations because they forget. Right? They forget about Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They forget, and they're about to relearn very quickly. All right, but back to this 2 Ezra 15. And I'm going to jump right to the point. 49, I will send plagues upon thee. So it's going to be plagues upon Asia. There's going to be plagues all throughout the world. Widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And the glory of the power shall be dried up as flour, when the heat shall arise that is sent over thee. Thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and as one chastised with wounds, so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive thee. Right? Because what do they say? We have the most army of all the armies in the world. We have the most people, and they do. Right? Would I with jealousy have proceeded against thee, saith the Lord, if thou hadst not always slain my chosen, exalting the stroke of thine hand and saying over their dead when thou was drunken, set forth the beauty of thy countenance. The reward of thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom, therefore shalt thou receive recompense. All right, and we know about how the Israelites are persecuted all throughout that land. Right, it says that thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy city shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh, and drink of their own blood, for very hunger of thirst, and for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. And then it continues with that being the point. And this is why. They're a partaker. They copy, these Chinese, Koreans, even Ammonite, they come here and they just completely follow and mimic after Esau. Whatever he does, they kiss his ass, And they know he's a piece of shit. Right? But guess what? You made yourself in his image, so you're going to have to go out just like he goes out. And it's really that simple. But all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Shai. Lord willing, is edifying. Shalom.